Okay. Hello, gamers. Famous YouTuber Skitty Bitty here. Let me know if my audio is okay. I was listening back to the stream from last night and the gain was a little high. Sounded kind of loud, which is a little funny because I feel like people are usually complaining that I sound too quiet. So, I guess we'll see. Can't tell without a game running. Hot take time? Well, we'll see. It's not my first time watching this. I watched it earlier. Um, I thought I would, talk about it a little bit. Because I'm also typically a fan of nerrel's various takes. I think, obviously no beef with him whatsoever, even though he won't message me back on Discord to discuss Tears of the Kingdom, whatever. That's a joke. Um, so we're gonna talk about his Hollow Knight take, because as you know, I've been quite Hollow Knight pilled recently. And there, are some things in this take that I agree with and some things that I do not. And so I thought it would be a fun and cool activity for the whole family to, watch it and have a chat. I think we've got a lot to discuss, and like I said, in general, I think Nerl has quite good takes. Um, so I have already seen this. I know what he's gonna say. Um, and I did have thoughts on it, but like not enough thoughts to like make a response video, especially because that kind of feels like starting drama, and I'm just not not about that. So instead, I'll do a little stream. Keep it casual, keep it fun, and you know, get to talk about Hollow Knight a bit. Let's go.
The first game in the list is one of.
Okay, wait, hang on before we even start. Something I think is actually kind of cuckoo bananas about this is that the Hollow Knight take is part of a larger video about a bunch of Metroidvania games. It's like not even half of this 20-minute video, which I think is bonkers. Like, Hollow Knight is like a 30-hour game minimum. I mean, I don't know. If you're a speedrunner, obviously it goes by much faster than that. But, like, for a first time player, especially if you're not, like, looking stuff up, like, I think it's going to take you a while to get through the game because there's a lot of content. And I don't know how effectively you can talk about it without, like, without dedicating the necessary time to it. So I kind of think putting it in here is a little depressing. Feel like a lot of the forthcoming takes could have been expanded out and given more examples, or maybe not because maybe there aren't. Oh, actually, one more thing. um, I'm going to put a filter over chat. Because I've noticed that sometimes I can't see people's names. Um, like a one Bill Smoke. So I'm just gonna see if I can turn the, the gamma up on this a little bit, just to make people's names more visible. We're being filtered. So true. Actually, this looks like shit. So we're just gonna go with the regular style one. Um, we're good. That looks terrible. So I think you know what we can do actually? We can make this a little bit more opaque. That's a little too opaque. That's all the way. There we go. Okay, cool. Just so I can see people's names better on the VOD. I noticed that yesterday. I'm still getting used to the new setup, but I do quite like it. I think it's very cute. Okay, so I think sort of relegating this review to a little portion of this already kind of short video is not a, it's a choice. But let's, instead of harping on about that, let's talk about the video. Let's go.
One of the most acclaimed indie games ever made. I've even seen praise placing it above Super Metroid as the best game in the genre. Can Hollow Knight live up to that hype? No. But the quality of the game smacks you in the face right away. It has gorgeous sprite work with a dark, ominous style that resembles the H.R. Giger artwork that inspired Alien, crossed with an old Disney cartoon.
So yeah, I think, obviously, I don't want you to be like, react more, but like, I think that's fair. I think saying it doesn't live up to the hype is kind of, you need to substantiate that, because like, who's hype? And like, are the gamers of today, have they played the Metroid Bible? Like, do they know about like the sacred texts, or is Hollow Knight like their first Metroidvania? Like, how are we measuring such things? And I think that's an important question I've been thinking about with the Botwa script. So,
the characters have great animation that lends them a lot of personality, like the map maker that hums when nearby. Audible hints like this are given throughout the game for secrets that might not be visible on screen. The audio in general is great, with enemies exploding into sickening splats and drips and tighter corridors producing muffled sounds.
Thank you, Christopher Larkin, for my life.
The soundtrack is mostly dramatic piano and string pieces that suit the somber tone of the game extremely well, and it's good that the tone is so subdued because the actual gameplay is unrelentingly intense. Team Cherry wants every inch of the map to kill you, with spike traps, dive-bombing shriek bats, and a nearly endless stream of bosses.
That's
it's
true.
Definitely one of
they are trying to kill you at all times.
The tougher games in the genre, but the controls are tight enough that it's probably going to be your fault when you die.
That's what my mom was saying yesterday, after we finished streaming, is she's like, it's hard, but I feel like it's fair, which is so true, and also correct. Based mom.
Your character's movements are sharp and precise, and the bright white mask is easy to track no matter how quickly the fights move. The core moveset in the game is fairly simple. You can jump, slash, and do a quick dash during combat. And while there are expansions to get as you go through the game, many of them just enhance the combat abilities you already have, with the rest introducing new ways to travel, like the ripoff of Metroid's Shine Spark. Your progress depends almost entirely.
So wait, okay, so here, I don't think I missed it. I don't think he says, like, the movement in this game, like, just, it feels fantastic to move around, because I think that's, like, such an essential part of this game. Like, you can't talk about this game without talking about the fact that just the simple act of moving your character around, especially once you get the upgraded movement abilities, is just fantastic. Like, it controls so well, like, the level of precision, the game feel, it is super duper good. And I think, like, not mentioning that is, like, borderline criminal when it's such an important part of the game.
Early on these power-ups, just as a Metroidvania should. In fact, I had to cheat using a save editor to recreate some footage and was able to go pretty much wherever I wanted with just a few abilities enabled. And even with every ability, it can take a while to get where you need to because the map is absolutely massive. Massive and boring!
Wii U, I don't know about that one. I've seen maps that are boringer. I have definitely seen maps that have less going on than one Hollowed Knight. Like, again, I think the boring allegations, yeah, sure, if you're riding an elevator, it might not be super riveting gameplay. Not to mention that you could just drop down here. You don't have to sit on the elevator, but whatever. Again, I think, like, you're just not going to mention the fact that, like, the moving around, it's in and of itself, like, getting from point A to point B in this big world usually involves platforming and getting to utilize the aforementioned movement abilities that feel really good to do. Like, the platforming is a huge part of this game, and it's super satisfying. Like, Mario Odyssey can be said that Mario Odyssey's world design is kind of boring at times. But, like, you get to run and jump and do Mario shit, so it's fun. Like, so what is bro waffling about?
The dark blue-gray mood in the first area is the same blue-gray mood as the middle and end areas.
This is bullshit. Like, brother.
It rarely evolves or shows you anything different.
It rarely evolves or shows you anything different. I know, okay, so I've seen this already. I know he's about to talk about Crystal Peak, but like even besides Crystal Peak, like Queen's Gardens, Green Path, Fog Canyon, Fungal Waste, City of Tears, like it's there is a lot of variation. I mean, the White Palace has its own thing going on. Hall of Gods looks unique. Like the Colosseum has its own thing. Like that's just factually incorrect. Like there's no way you made it to Kingdom's Edge and you didn't see all of the beautiful shit on the way there. Like I was like in love with the visuals by the time I was in Green Path, let alone Fungal Waste, which I think is probably maybe the best looking area in the game. I don't know if it's a hot take. There's not a ton to do there, but it is gorgeous to look at. Also the Hive. Yeah, that's right, but it's the Hive. No, I'm not beefing with him. I'm allowed to discuss someone's takes and disagree with them without beefing with them personally. Don't be silly. Um yeah, it's just I also think that like it makes the world feel very cohesive as you go from place to place, especially because you've got, those spaces in between the different parts of the map where it sort of fades from one into the other. Like I love when you go to the nailsmith and you see like the City of Tears background kind of begin to intermingle with the fungal wastes a little bit. I think that's gorgeous. Same situation when you're in that, the fucking room with the flying enemies to get to the stag station. That one. That one also has a cool like blending of the City of Tears and fungal wastes aesthetics. Um, does Skitty still do the Mushroom Man vocal? Wow, of course. Um, like I think of all the things you can criticize this game for, like saying like something about like the tone or aesthetics just feels like not. I don't want to say like maliciously misrepresenting it, but it does feel like come on, like come on, like look at it.
What you're seeing here is about as much as the tone shifts, and it's basically the same thing, but purple now.
I cannot stress enough that if you've not played Hollow Knight, go look up a picture of the fungal wastes. Also, if you haven't played Hollow Knight, why are you watching this? You should go play the game. It's $15, and it's peak.
Purple now? It's purple now! If the developers had only used the first area's tile set and song for the whole thing, it wouldn't have made that much of a difference in most areas.
Also bonkers. Like, as if the music, the sound is also key. Like, look at where the arrows are pointing here. First of all, Ancient Basin has no music. It's just kind of empty. This is Deep Nest. Imagine pointing to Deep Nest and being like, yeah, this could have the same tile set and music as the Forgotten Crossroads. Like, hello? Hello? Deep Nest of all places? Like, where the atmosphere is cranked up to 11? Now, don't get me wrong. Being in Deep Nest is harrowing and miserable. He didn't just play the game with his eyes closed, he apparently also played it with his ears closed. It's also not a tile set, it's also hand-drawn, yeah. But, like, come on now. And, like, the Hive's got unique music and aesthetic and all of that. Like, come on. I think, like, I don't know, maybe these arrows are just placed arbitrarily on the screen, but, like, I think if you wanted to talk about this, like, you could maybe put, like, a Howling Cliffs, maybe? Or, like a Kingdom's Edge? But, like, surely you're not talking about Deep Nest. The Deep Nest? Come on. Or maybe Resting Grounds? I don't know about that one.
And being one of the longest and most expansive examples of the genre, Hollow Knight desperately needs more variety than this. The game also blows it when it comes to power-ups, because the majority of secrets in the world don't power you up. One of the key drivers of a Metroid
Let's just remember this.
Because the majority of secrets in the world don't power you up.
But the ones that do, like, are spaced. First of all, they're spaced well enough that, like, a new upgrade always feels significant and always opens more stuff up, like, in the good Metroidvania way. And second of all, like, the eggs are useful for something that we're gonna talk about later. Like, I think this game actually handles its collectibles very well. I think money is very valuable, in this game. especially because, you use it to buy charms. And even if the charms are not particularly useful, the more charms you have, the more charm notches you can buy, which is useful. Like, I think most of the collectibles in this game feel valuable. Like, I think the least valuable things that you can get are the things you just sell for money. But I think, like, having assets that don't disappear when you die is big, especially if the bank rips you off. Um, he's got a point. Each grub should give you a superpower. So true. Um, like I think the power ups are actually great, especially because like from the Forgotten Crossroads, you're being teased with like, oh, I need to be able to wall jump. Oh, I need to be able to dash. Like there's places all over the world where the power ups recontextualize how you move around the area, and also, as I've said earlier, just make the moving around more fun. Period. Um, Also, like when you think about the value of rewards in this game compared to like a game like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, like it's like night and day. Even the most useless charm is still more interesting than like a fucking Korok seed or 20 rupees. All right, let's proceed.
One of the key drivers of a Metroid game's momentum is the steady gain in strength you get from every little missile tank or beam upgrade. Most of the secret passages in Hollow Knight lead to a power refill, an egg, an emblem, or a journal entry. Even up to the last moments of the game, I still didn't know what half of these items even did and had
Or like a pale ore or a key. Like, come on now. Especially because, like, he's talking about strength upgrades, but, one of the collectibles is the pale ore that lets you upgrade your nail, to get stronger.
to search it to find out that you just hawk them for money. The only secret I consistently enjoyed was finding members of the Grub family, and even that just mostly leads to money.
Money, badges, mask shard. Is one of the grub rewards a pale ore? I feel like it is. It's kind of bonkers. I'm not gonna lie.
Metroid delivered upgrades with just the right
That's right, vessel fragments, that too.
to keep you satisfied without overpowering you. You really have to enjoy the precious few power-ups in Hollow Knight that actually do something, because it could be hours before you see the next one.
Well, yes, that's what makes them feel important, is the way that they're spaced out, and the ways that they change things. Like, if you go to Forgotten Crossroads and then immediately get, like, the C dash, like, you're just gonna feel like you're immediately retracing your steps. Like, if it's a few hours later, you will have, sort of you'll be hazier on the location, you'll be able to go wander it anew. Like it's delightful. Like it's doing all the Metroidvania stuff. So what is the problem? But the upgrades are completely optional. It makes it up to you to decide how difficult the game is. Yeah, and like you can upgrade your strength and your health, and like you can get more vessel fragments and better charms and more charm notches and upgrade your nail. And like, there's Sharp Shadow and Shade Cloak. Like there's so many like significant upgrades. And I feel like they're way more worth your time than a lot of like open world games make a lot of their shit. Like, again, I will take this any day of the week over a Korok seed.
Perk-style enhancements are the most common upgrades, and you're severely limited to equipping just a few at a time.
Damn, if only there was some sort of thing you could find that felt very valuable then that let you equip more charms. Like, come on, man. Come on. And also, even if the charms you get are useless, again, they let you buy more notches from Salubra. So, like, collecting them is valuable in and of itself. Like, even if it's a freaking Thorns of Agony situation, at least there's something you get out of it. Yeah, I know this is a part of a larger review. I talked about that at the beginning. I think that's a little wild. Um, Actually, he's gonna say something crazy about Salubra in a little bit.
Meaning you can't really enjoy the powerful ones without getting rid of everything else. This would almost be like Super Metroid only letting you use 3 power-ups at once. Buying more slots requires that you found one specific shop that's easily missable.
Easily missable. By the way, if you want the shop in Dirtmouth, you have to save Sly, who's here. Like, it is... Like, really? Like I don't think he mentions that like at the beginning of the game, this is your world. Like it is not implausible for the player to end up going here. Like this is a crazy bad take. Like and she's giggling, she's making all of her funny noises, and like I remember when I was playing this on my channel on Too Skitty Too Bitty, I saw that and I was like, I need to come back here when I can dash, and I did. Like, you know, seeing a thing that you can't get to yet and remembering it for later is like the Metroidvania thing. It's also right next. Yeah, exactly. Sundowner Strudel says it's right next to the Grismother, which is, you know, a lot of players' very first boss. Like, come on now. Like, I don't know. I don't know about that one. You can curveball to get into fungal without dash. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is true. It is right next to the stag station's right here. Like, and if you come in through the blue lake, like that would be super late game to find Salubra. But like, it is possible, and I feel like you're going to be doing exploration in this game because that's the whole point. That's what you do these games for. Like, what what are you talking about? What do you mean obscure?
which is pretty much the story for many other critical systems in the game. The developers don't really care what you find and what you.
Hold
It's the
on.
story for many other critical systems in the game.
I saw that keyhole like minute 1 when I landed in Dirtmouth, and I was like, shit, when I get a key, I gotta come back here. Like, I went and talked to Gigi, and I found out what Gigi did. Because I saw it and I couldn't go there yet, and I remembered it for like, am I going crazy?
The developers don't really care what you find and what you don't, so obliviously passing one room in this massive map can put you at a major disadvantage the entire game. The general lack of.
I also like not to be like that because I know it's not for everyone. Some people will balk at the idea or be scandalized or whatever, but like if you're having trouble finding important stuff, it's okay to look it up on the internet. Like if you're like, God, I have no idea where to find the mask shards, like just look it up. There's literally nothing wrong with doing that if that's how you want to do it. Like if you're having trouble finding something, just look up how to find it. Like, come on. It's but yeah, someone said maybe it's not his type of game, but I don't think that's true because he's, you know, keeps talking about like Super Metroid, which to be fair, I haven't played it yet. Um but come on. Like not every game is going to be the game that you played when it came out in the 90s. Well, of course you haven't played Super Metroid. Sorry that I didn't play the game that came out what, 20 plus years before this was released and this game had the benefit of learning from it. Like I think that's silly. Like yeah, he loves Metroidvanias, that's why he makes these videos. And yet he's complaining about like the elements in these games. Like why do I have to remember things? Why do I have to explore? That's a little silly. In my, you know, in my professional, non-professional opinion. What did you miss? You know, you're welcome to rewind after. I don't think this will be super long. The segment's not super long. Yeah, I also I struggle to imagine like strictly from a game feel perspective how Super Metroid, like I'm sure like it is possible that there are design elements that are executed better there, but I think like you know, there's more to a game than its design elements. Like there is a question of atmosphere, there's a question of game feel, and like something tells me that a game that came out in 2017, um, you know, with a robust movement engine that like plays like butter is probably going to feel better than a Super Nintendo game. Like, and if you would rather just play Super Metroid, fucking go play Super Metroid. Like, this is the same thing with people who, like, are mad that Breath of the Wild isn't just Ocarina of Time again. Like, just go play Ocarina of Time. Like, it's okay. Like, I know, like, oh, I need to return to my childhood. They need to do the same thing that they did when I was younger, but again, like, it's okay for things to change. It's okay for them to be different, and they don't make the old ones go away. My takeaway is that I really ought to play Super Metroid, which I think, that'd be a nice fun thing to do. I can't imagine that game is super long. Um so, probably have to give that a try at some point. But like it's just like frustrating when people, you know how it is. Nintendo lets the old ones go away, but that's a preservation question, you know? Also, like, I think the idea that like this game is like boring when there are open world games like Breath of the Wild is like, you know, a little silly. Because I think like by the numbers, there's way more boring shit in Breath of the Wild than there is in Hollow Knight. Um, it'd be interesting to play them and sort of compare them, but I also think that like if a game comes out that sets the standard that everyone holds it to, it's like why is it not literally exactly the same as the game that created the standard? It's like because that's not how iteration works. If it were just Super Metroid again, it would actually be worse, I think. Anyway, let's proceed.
Of reward is odd, as if the developers are daring you to stop playing.
It's just text. I mean, listen, like, come on. I just feel like this is like kind of lazy and dishonest. Like, you're here in the Watcher's Tower, you're learning about the Dreamers. Like, they've got text walls, like they got like little text boxes like this in the archive. Like, um, story is a type of extrinsic reward, especially in a game like this where it's sort of subtle and you have to put the pieces together, much like Edwin when he made the mimic. Um, like I actually think that little pieces of flavor text like this are delightful in their own way. Like I was never disappointed when I found something and it was just like a tablet with some text on it. There is nothing wrong with that.
This is a game where you can finally beat a boss and die at the same time and never see the outcome you've been working for.
What?
A game where you can finally beat a boss and die at the same time and never see the outcome you've been working for. Where you can finish off half a dozen collectathons.
That's never happened to me personally, but maybe I'm just a pro gamer.
Only to get rewarded with trees spewing sentence fragments before once again having to Google what the point is supposed to be.
Wait a minute. But you've already if the tree looks like that, it means you've already gotten all the essence. You've already done the thing with the tree. All that's left is flavor text. Like the point of that is there's a little platforming thing and it gives you essence that you need to do the final boss. Am I crazy?
The world is challenging enough that just getting around requires the kind of dexterity that Metroid games usually reserve for getting the toughest secret items.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good thing. Like, I think the traversal itself being fun and challenging and rewarding is awesome. Like, I think that's the feature of the game.
Only for so many destinations to end up barren or pointless with your current status. Or just always pointless.
I don't know, I think Mask Maker, I'm still sure. Like, I don't know that Mask Maker even actually does anything. Uh-oh, did I move my thing a little too much? Yeah, okay, let's. But like, I got to meet this new character. So that was pretty cool. Like, I don't know. It was one room when I found out there was nothing for me there. I talked to the character, saw the dialogue, and then I was like, okay, great. And then I moved on to the next thing. Like it's not rocket surgery.
And when you have to work hard to get somewhere only to be turned back to navigate that same spike-riddled terrain again empty-handed, it becomes a chore to play.
First of all, empty-handed, that's what the eggs are for. Second of all, I don't think saying skill issue is productive. But like that's that's just how the game, like, that's how the game is. Yes, I know that's how the game is. I don't like it. Like, okay, fair. But also, like, just because like it doesn't click with you or it doesn't work for you doesn't necessarily mean hmm. Let's run that back.
Back to navigate that same spike-riddledness. And when you have to work hard to get somewhere only to be turned back to navigate that same spike-riddled terrain again empty-handed, it becomes a chore to play. I assume the color...
Hmm. Hmm. Ooh. See, that's the thing, is I feel like the easy response here is just skill issue. I'm trying to think of a different, more generous interpretation. Um I also like I don't know how often the game makes you do that. Like, I feel like most of the rewards are at the end of a straightaway. Like, if you really want to, after you've gotten a reward, you can pause and quit to menu and then just start back at the bench. Like, it's really not the end of the world.
color scheme of the game was inspired by the blue balls playing it gives you. Apologies to my female viewer. I'm expecting a lot of get good in the
Hold on.
balls. It becomes a chore to play. I assume the color scheme of the game was inspired by the blue balls playing it gives you. Apologies to my female viewer.
Yeah, I really got the crazy blue balls when I got the Mantis Claw and could suddenly wall jump and the entire world opened up.
I'm expecting a lot of get good in the comments, but the problem isn't that the game is challenging. The problem is that the more demanding and exhausting a game is to play, the greater the rewards should be, and Hollow Knight gives less than any Metroidvania I've ever played.
The reward is more game. And like various resources that let you upgrade your character and get stronger, and new moves like the nail arts, and more charm notches. And like, what is bro talking about? You can wall jump in Metroid from the start, okay? Who cares? Literally, who cares? Like, getting the upgrade is a different way of structuring rewards. Like, you can wall jump from the start in Celeste too. That doesn't make it a better or worse game.
There are tons of optional bosses in the game that are tough as nails, some taking dozens of attempts to defeat, and in most cases I wouldn't have bothered had I known they were optional and how inconsequential it would be.
Is the footage of the Mantis... I mean, I guess, like, is the Mantis Lord technically optional? Like, yes, but not if you want the true ending. Which, like, if you're playing Hollow Knight and you're enjoying it, probably you at least want to see it. So I think characterizing this boss as optional when it blocks the way to half of the charm that you need to unlock the final area is a bit silly.
And that's another issue I have with the game. It's too open for its own good. Everyone hates extreme linearity, but as anyone who has played a lot of Metroid ROM hacks can tell you, going in the polar opposite direction doesn't work either. Developers have to balance the map between being linear enough to keep a sense of purpose and momentum, while being open enough that the player feels as if they're able to make choices. Hollow Knight allows you to aimlessly wander into fights or areas you aren't equipped for and rarely ever gives you any indication whether this is the thing you're supposed to be doing or not.
Well, but like anything can be the thing you're supposed to be doing. Like, I really don't think anything in this game is truly like a waste of time. Like, you get something for everything, and if something is too hard, you come back later. Like in the Metroidvania games. Like, that's the whole point of the genre, is like... It's like you see something and you're like, oh, I can't do this yet. Maybe I should come back later. Like, when I played the game for the first time, I got stuck on the Mantis Lords, but I talked to Quirrell, who's like, you can go to the city and upgrade your nail. And I was like, bet, I'm gonna go do that. So I did. And I came back much later and I beat the Mantis Lords, but I had an upgraded nail and more health, and like, there was nothing wrong with that. I felt like that improved my experience with the game. That didn't make it worse. Like, come on now. Also, like, just talk to Elderbug, silly. If you don't know where to go, talk to your friendly neighborhood elderbug.
At one point, I took on this side boss, apparently much earlier than I should have been, but still managed to beat it. I explored the new area that opened up, expecting that I might find some kind of power-up for the effort, only to be dropped into Deep Nest, one of the most dangerous areas of the game, which also happens to be hard to see in if you don't have a lantern yet, which I did not. After dying in a few difficult-to-reach spots and losing all my money, I gave up on exploring it and just tried to find the way back out, which wasted at least half an hour.
Yeah, I think that's fair and also kind of reflects your subjective experience and also possibly just bad luck. Like I think being in Deep Nest at that early that stage is like not ideal. Yeah, you get the mark of pride for beating the Mantis Lords. That's true. It's the other way. Also, again, this is ignoring the fact that like the boss fight itself is rewarding to master and to finish. Like I didn't get into Deep Nest that early, but you know, it's pretty cool. And also, if you're down there and it's like this sucks, then save and quit to bench. um, do does every complaint boil down to him not liking Deep Nest? It's listen, maybe not all of them, but there does seem to be a lot of Deep Nest complaining, which like it really is a shame considering Deep Nest is the entire map. Um, and there's absolutely nothing else there.
Allowing players to enter areas they aren't prepared for is one thing.
There's no simple way back after this. Mm, mm. I feel like by the time you get down here, though, like if you come in from here, by the time you're here, you could probably tell you're out of your depths, and you probably shouldn't sit on the bench. You should probably quit the menu.
Trapping them in areas they aren't prepared for is basically punishing the player for exploring and being curious, which is one of the worst things a Metroidvania can do.
I never felt punished for exploring in this game, not even once, actually. In fact, I consistently felt rewarded for exploring, which is sort of how it's supposed to work.
The only thing like this I can think of in a game that's actually good are these floor traps from Super Metroid. But here, there's no risk of losing anything, they're very brief, and you learn valuable skills from them. There's a point. The pit in Hollow Knight was just a total loss to explore at that moment. And things like this, combined with the lack of power-ups and barely changing tone, sap all the momentum out of the game.
Then simply leave. Like, you don't have to go to Deep Nest till way later. And it's not even the part of Deep Nest you have to go to. Like, of course it's going to be frustrating to end up there. Like, it sucks being in Deep Nest. I think they did that on purpose. But, like, if you know you're not supposed to be there yet, simply leave.
I'd estimate that as much as 30% of my playtime.
How is he supposed to know that he shouldn't be there? Well, like I said, by the time you make it down to the spot where the bench is, you've already been accosted by the various creepy crawlies in Deep Nest, and you know it's dark as fuck there, and you know you can't see yet. So like something's not right. Yeah, I mean also your mileage will vary with this. You see a bench and sit there out of panic/relief, your mileage may vary. I think if I fell into Deep Nest by accident, I would not sit on a bench until I was sure that I could handle it down there. I would be like, I think I should leave. Like, I think it does a pretty good job saying, like, hey, if you're not 100% ready to be here, you probably shouldn't. Like, Deep Nest is not like this is a welcoming place for you to explore. Don't worry about it. Like, I'm pretty sure everything about that place is like, turn around now. Skill issue that he saw a save point and sat on it. I didn't say that. That's not what I said at all. But like, look at the map. Like, you have to navigate this like labyrinthian series of like tunnels with the freaking Garpedes, and then you drop down here. And like, if you know you can't go back up there, and you've just been through all this, and you know the benches are save points, then like, just leave. By the time you have gotten here and you've fallen down, especially because Bro already has the map. Yes, exactly. Cornifer even tells you to turn around. And if you are trapped by that bench, then you just gotta fight your way out. Like,
prepared for is basically punishing the player for exploring and being curious, which is one of the worst things a Metroidvania can do. The only thing like this I can think of in a game that's actually good are these floor traps from Super Metroid. But here, there's no risk of losing anything, they're very brief, and you learn valuable skills from them. There's a point. The pit in Hollow Knight was just a total loss to explore at that moment. And things like this, combined with the lack of power-ups and barely changing tone, sap all the momentum out of the game.
Lack of power-ups and barely changing tone in Hollow Knight is crazy. Like, huh? What? what are you talking about? The only thing you lose in Hollow Knight is your Geo, and if you're really worried about that, then you can just stag back over to Dirtmouth and give an egg to Gigi. You know, the eggs that he was talking about being useless earlier. Hollow Knight video when? At some point. Deepness does have a tram pass, that's true. If you do explore your way back up, you will likely find the tram pass. And that opens the world up a whole lot more. The pit teaches you that valuable lesson Deep Nest is a torture chamber you should fear. By the way, that's exactly how it was for me. The first time I ended up in Deep Nest, I got the fuck out of there. And for the rest of the game, it sort of haunted my dreams. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to go back there at some point. I don't want to go back there at some point, but I knew I would have to. And I think like that level of sort of dread and like visceral like disgust for being in that area was actually very effective. It's a neat little bit of design.
I'd estimate that as much as 30% of my
I also love that he says that there's like barely any change in tone, and then cuts to a picture of the Queen's Gardens where he's sitting at a beautiful little vestibule with a speaker playing the rest music. Like, brother.
Spent traveling between benches and boss fights over and over. It's typical for Metroidvanias not to have checkpoints, but it's also typical to put a save point before a boss room.
This is fair. This is 100% fair. I do think the boss runbacks can be a huge pain in the ass, especially for new players. Like, I think that, like, it can be a huge pain in the ass, which I think is probably the point to some extent, but also, it's just a pain in the ass. It's gray, blue, and boring. I like barely want to engage you because you're obviously trolling. Like, there are so very many areas that are not the blue color. You know, I think but also that makes Dreamgate feel more rewarding when you finally unlock it. Like, yet another time where, like, late in the game you get something that changes it. Like, when I was doing the Mantis Lords, I remember I was getting really frustrated having to run back through the platforming segment, and then I remembered, like, oh shit, I have Dreamgate, and so I made a little Dreamgate. I got banned from Nerrel's Discord for being antagonistic, so I probably shouldn't engage. That's all I need to know. Get banished. Who uses Dreamgate? Me. I use Dreamgate.
Somehow in my time with this game, I'd
forgotten. For Hive Knight, that's also a good one.
That this used to be common sense game design to prevent the player from repeating the same tedious work over and over. And with so few benches, you basically can't pass any up when traveling without getting royally screwed with massive setbacks. They should have called the game Sisyphus Simulator. There are often broken benches that force you to travel to the next area to save, or you have to pay to unlock the bench, which is a double punch if you recently died since you'll have lost all of your money.
You can just go the other room and, like, kill a few enemies. You're probably fine. Like, come on now. Just sit. Often broken benches. I think, like, how many broken benches even are there in the game? Like, there's the one he showed, and there's the one in the station below the actual functioning bench, I might add. Yeah, bench issue. When was the review? Dreamgate was a DLC. First of all, the DLC came out like um less than a year after the game, and also this video came out in March of 2020. So it was out by then. Yeah, there are also yes, that's exactly right. There are a ton of shortcuts. Yeah, the Crystal Guardian one is kind of evil, but you know, I think by the time I think that run back can be long, especially depending on where your last bench was, and if you didn't get the one in the bottom part of Crystal Peak. But like, you know, I did it on like my second. Also, the Crystal Guardian is like not that hard. Just jump over the lasers, big brain.
You can only get it back by absorbing your ghost before you.
Also, I don't know if you can see this. Let me wait for the text to. The bar will might make. Well, I can just read it. Behind the play bar, it says you can summon your ghost to come to you, but only by traveling to the very start of the goddamn game. Which he says that like it's a real chore. Like there aren't stag stations that take you directly to Dirtmouth where you can summon your thing back. Like, come on. Like you're talking about it like it's some expedition to the beginning of the game and not hopping on a stag. My God, bro. Kingdom's Edge, Ferocious Fiend. Like again, you don't just want to say skill issue, but like yeah, complaining about backtracking in a Metroidvania. Exactly. Like, isn't this the backtracking genre? Like again, the boss runbacks totally agree. Those are a huge pain in the ass. But when I was in Deep Nest and I died, I think it was in the area near where Zote's hanging out, getting munched on. I died and I was like, I had a few thousand geo. I don't want to lose it, so I turned around, left Deep Nest, got on a stag, went back to Dirtmouth, and did a rancid egg to get my soul back. No problem.
You die again, otherwise that money is gone forever. And because you probably died in a dangerous area, you have to navigate it again, or sometimes even fight a boss and your ghost at the same time.
That's annoying whenever it happens. When your shade appears in the boss fight like this or Nosk, like that's quite annoying. Um I heard some sort of creature in the background. Is there a creature in here? Like that fuck ass cat? Oh well. I guess we'll never know. Perhaps there's some sort of cat lingering around here. Could also just be my mic stand creaking. I really have no idea. Um the concept of a cat, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly. You can summon your shade back. This is I don't know how I feel about this one. I've very rare nerrel L.
While frantically avoiding that second death. I mentioned how a lot of the collectibles exist just to trade for cash. If you happen to have that cash on you when dying and don't get it back, that adventuring just became pointless.
I don't know how you missed the point this badly. Like that's the whole purpose of having those items because the walk from the place where you sell your stuff to the stag station is not dangerous, like in either direction really. So when you're ready to make a purchase, you can liquidate your assets and go buy whatever it is you needed. Most of the shops are either in Dirtmouth or maybe you're going to the nailsmith who's right there. Like that's exactly why they give you these items, that you can have things that persist after you die. So even if something like that happens, like come on. That's why you have them. Is this their actual voice or is it AI? So mean. Of course it's my real voice. We do not like we're not AI fans here in Skitty City. You're pissed the game isn't over faster. I mean, I can't really like that's I can't really imagine that. Um, because like I feel like I loved every second of this game, but you know,
This would be a little like losing all your missile expansions when dying and only getting one shot to pick them back up.
no, it really wouldn't. Does Metroid not have currency of some sort? Surely Metroid has currency. You don't lose any of your upgrades. Like, what is he yapping about? No currency in Metroid? Okay, well, it's still a bad comparison. Just power-ups? Well, then it's irrelevant. Because you never lose a permanent upgrade when you die. That in fact, you don't lose the relics, the thing he was just complaining about. How much completion do I have? I think 109.
When you put all of this together, the game that Hollow Knight reminds me of most is Metroid 1. Because when you make an extremely repetitive game where you have to explore without a map and where death is a punishing cycle of repetition and refilling, you've recreated the tedium of that game. It was so dull that I stopped playing it near the end and only went back to finish it now, years later for this video, and the main satisfaction I got was the knowledge that I don't have to play it again. I'm not saying Hollow Knight is bad. It's still one of the most impressive indie games ever made, and the developers have a lot to be proud of. I can admire it, but I can't enjoy playing it. It's big, beautiful, boring, and kind of shitty, just a little bit.
7F is crazy. Like F out of like a letter grade, a 7 out of 10, but also an F. What is bro waffling about? That's not how that works. A 7 is like a C. I hate this trend of game reviews where they do nothing but complain and say, "I'm not saying this game is bad." Like, that's why I'm the goat. It's because I'll just say it's bad. Did you not watch nerrel? I mean, I do watch nerrel occasionally. Um, but like, the scores are meant to be tongue in cheek. Then why are people bringing them up as like a, but he said it was a 7 out of 10. Like, either it matters or it doesn't. Um, maybe it's a 7 in British grading. Yeah, I don't know about that one, Nerrel, my beloved. It is not his finest take. Bro had a really good steak and then eats chicken and thinks it's just really bad steak. Lol. It's just video games, none of it matters. Well, obviously it matters to me. Yeah, I think this review was written by someone who does not care for Deep Nest. Also, like, it's I don't think there was a single clip from Fungal Wastes, Fog Canyon, or Green Path. Like, some of the most beautiful areas with the most visual variety in the entire game. Like, where where are your examples? Like, and there's also the Hive, but like that's the Hive. But yeah, but he's got to say everything's blue. Yeah, where is my beloved Fungal Waste? It's a great question. Um, he slipped up once showing Queen's Gardens. He showed it a couple times. But green is basically blue. Um, yeah, exactly. Anyway, I just think like this game is not a 7 out of 10. Breath of the Wild's a 7 out of 10. I would say Hollow Knight's probably a 9 out of 10 game. Maybe a 10 out of 10 game. I don't know. I don't know if I played a 10 out of 10 game. I guess relative to the Skitty score, it'd probably be it's definitely one of the best games I've ever played. Though, I think also I am in the market to play more games. Um, but it's extremely good. I hate how blue this game is. Remember Blue Path? Exactly. The run back to Soul Master is long, and also it's annoying as hell. I need a guide to the Skitty score, maybe one day, but I think bot was like a 7, which is why it's crazy that they made Tears, which is like a low 6. A lot of people miss the bench closest to Soul Master, or they don't open up the shortcut. That one, it's gonna be good. Was it the nerrel video? Yes, that it was. Um, yeah, that was some not great takes. But you know what? We sat through it together. We're gonna watch the rest of the reviews on the video. No, I have not played the rest of those games, so I would not be able to contribute anything. I would just be like, huh, or hmm. It's it's good, and I think in a landscape where there are so many games that are less good, it's kind of crazy. Shout out to Skitty Bitty, gotta be one of my favorite genders. That's me. What's my opinion on nerrel in general? Usually quite positive. I think he's got some great takes. He's got good takes about motion controls, about emulation, about Majora 3D. Um, he's got a handful of good takes. Um, yeah, I mean, everyone has their misses, except for me because I'm obviously the world's most perfect creature. Just look at me. Look at those ears. Look at my adorable pink face. I guess the face is more of a cream color. It's the ears that are pink. Um, if I had to pick between Ocarina and Majora, which one would I go with? I mean, for me, it's always going to be Majora. Any day of the week. I think Ocarina is probably a more important game, like legacy wise, but I love Majora's Mask. Mm. Anyway, this was fun. Majora 64. I played it on my mom's N64 that she had when she was in college, which I think is cute. I did also play the 3DS version, but it was everyone needs to play Ocarina for Water Temple. That's a truth nuke. I think Water Temple is good. People were just 10. Uh, yeah, I'm just I think it's okay to be wrong. I think like again, I think this all goes back to what I said at the very start, which is that having like a Hollow Knight segment and part of a bigger review instead of like actually giving it the time and attention it deserves. Also, he said that he like started the game, then dropped it, then picked it back up for the review. Like, you're not going to have a cohesive experience if you do that. Like, it's an acceptable way to do it. Like, we only have so much time in our lives. But like, also no discussion of the final boss fight, no discussion of the story. Doesn't even show. Does he even show Hornet once? Hornet, my beloved. Like, hmm. It feels like it feels a little dishonest. Like, I think if you can shit on a game, you should shit on the game's terms. Did nerrel even bring up gumping? No, he did not. He did not gump. Showed that clip of him dying to Hornet Sentinel. Oops. Yes, he did show dying to Hornet. I love Hornet. Oh, she's so baby girl. Yeah, I mean, he did complain about getting the lore tablets as a reward, even though I think that is a perfectly acceptable reward. I don't think I'm necessarily being, obviously it's a catch-22. If someone tells you you're being defensive, there's not really anything you can say to that. But like, I agreed in the places where I thought his criticism made sense, but I think some of the stuff he said is just like not true. Like talking about the lack of visual variety between the areas, or like saying the game like punishes you for exploring. Like I just don't think that that like tracks with reality. I don't know if this was conducted in good faith. Plays Metroidvania Souls like, looks inside at the Metroidvania Souls like. Yeah. Skip the intended path, had a bad experience. Well, I think the whole thing is about like what is the intended path and did it do a good enough job telegraphing that? Which like, your mileage may vary. I'm trying to get Nerrel here, but he's busy. Well, listen, Nerrel never calls me back. Obviously um I'm all for shitting on games, especially games that people are not able to shit upon. But, you know, I I think you got to come prepared. You need to have the receipts. Um you don't think I perceive visual variety in the same way? He said that all the areas are blue with like almost no change in that, even though there are so many areas that are not blue. Like that's just a silly thing to say. He also crucially like he doesn't show the areas that aren't blue. Like he doesn't show the resting grounds, he doesn't show the fungal wastes, he doesn't show like green path, he doesn't show fog canyon. Like come on now. I love being a contrarian, but I have to be right and genuine, not just a contrarian for the fashion. Exactly. People don't get that. They're like, you just want to hate Tears of the Kingdom because it's different. Like, no, I'm happy to glaze the actual games that are very good. Like I love Ocarina of Time. You need to consider he's colorblind. Is he really? Well, I feel like that's a bit of a different story. I mean, I don't know if you're trolling or if that's true, but like if he's actually colorblind, I feel like probably you should. Okay, it's a bit. Oh, yeah, I guess it's not impossible. Um, didn't bring up any of the enemies and area gimmicks. Yeah, he like sort of glossed over the Mantis Lords fight too, which is like I think the boss fights are some of the best parts of the game. And also like he just complains about not having enough charm notches, disregarding the fact that like some of the charms are super good. Um, this isn't a takedown of Hollow Knight, more of him sharing his opinion briefly. Listen, everyone keeps telling me that I gotta hear what he had to say about Hollow Knight, so here I am. I appreciate the idea if you finished a game, people go, no, you must have really liked it if you finished it. You really can't win. It's true, you really can't win. People in my comments are constantly like, if you didn't like it, why'd you play 300 hours of it? And it's like, for research, obviously. First of all, because I had a laparoscopic surgery, um, and I was in bed for 6 weeks, so I had nothing to do but Totka. Um, but then I knew I had to make the video, so I spent another 100 hours playing it for footage. Like, it's you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, because like if you say this game sucks and drop it early, he'll be like, no, you didn't give it a chance, you didn't understand it, you don't get nobody understands Tears of the Kingdom. But if you spend several 100 hours like mastering it and learning all the shrines and the various things, like the people are like, well, you must have loved it. Like, no, I did not. I did not love it, but I'm going to be qualified in my hatred. I'll be damned if I'm going to hate from anything less than a place of expertise. Where do all the Persona games place on the skitty scale? Um, I love Persona 3. Persona 3 is a great game. I probably do 8, 7, 6 for 3, 4, and 5 in that order. I'm not a Persona 5 liker. I think it's a gorgeous game. I love the art direction. But there's a lot of things about that game that I really don't like. Um yes, I am a professional hater, but I'm also a professional lover. It's a trade-off. It's both and. Um, Phew. All right. I've not played Personas 1 and 2. I I don't know what I would play them on. I don't know if there's somewhere where they're easily accessible these days. If I play Tunic, I should have downloaded last night. Um, yeah, no, I'm not doing a Persona 5 video. I do not want to spend another 80 hours playing that game for footage. No, thank you. Okay. I'm gonna go. But it's been lovely. Thanks everyone who stopped by. Um, it's it's been fun. I'm gonna try to go back to working on the Botwa video, which has been difficult because I've been Hollow Knight brain rotted, and Silksong is sure to make it worse. But you know, I've got a lot of stuff to say about Breath of the Wild, and it's not like I haven't been working on it at all. Like my research is, I've been reading regular books and game design textbooks and like books about other kinds of design that are not necessarily strictly about games. Like, and I'm doing a lot of research. I'm going back and forth between the writing and the research. It's gonna be really good, I think. When it finally comes out, I think it will be worth the wait. That is what I will say about the Breath of the Wild video. After Breath of the Wild, Hollow Knight, I wanted to do Okami after Breath of the Wild, but Hollow Knight is at some point for sure. I'll do what I did for Tears of the Kingdom, and I'll have like a notes document on my phone that I'll just add stuff to when I think of it. Okay. Bye everybody. Take care.